Hi and welcome to LearnCocosTV episode number 4. I wrote a tutorial for iDevBlogADay about how to make a Cocos2D Webcam Viewer, and my intention was basically how to see how to download files from a web server and actually to replace them at runtime. Also, I released Cocos2D version 1.0.2. I added a scripting language for Cocos2D poll on my website, and I'd like to explain my work schedule a bit more in detail because I think I have a rather interesting, unique system here. So let's start with the webcam viewer. Where's Xcode? There we have it. Okay, all the gory details of this website webcam viewer are explained in the blog post. Essentially, I'm downloading the file from the server using the NSData with contents of URL option, and then just writing this to the documents folder. And well, next thing I do is to actually just use this as the image for certain sprites. So what I have is in the simulator, run. I picked a webcam somewhere in New York, I think. You can see cars are passing by. It's not real time, of course, because webcam is updated, I don't know, maybe every 2 seconds, but the cool part is I periodically check, like twice per second, if the image has changed on the web server, and I only download it when it actually has changed. So that's why you can see the cars whizzing by. But the more interesting part for me was to use this in development to replace assets while the app is running. And you can actually do this by easily by going to System Preferences and Sharing, and just enable web sharing. You'll get your computer's IP address, which you have to enter into code so that you can connect to your Mac computer. And assuming that your iPhone is Wi-Fi enabled, it always works in a simulator, it always has sort of Wi-Fi emulated. And you have this computer website folder, which I have over here, where you can just store the files that are hosted on your web server. The files in this project, I can show you here, they are not in the resources list, and just to verify, they are also not in the copy bundle resources list, so those files are really just downloaded from a server, and in this case it came from the web file. There's this web server file here. It's just the color somewhat tinted, and I also have this file open here in an image editor, and I already have it modified, and once I save it, you'll see it'll change in the application. Bam, saved, and see it was modified. If I go back and save again, it comes back, and I can also save both layers, and then it doesn't show up. What the f? I also can enable both layers and save again, and it should show both layers, and I can just save here, and then I can just save nothing, and then I can save this one, and then I can save both again. It's fun, as you can see. Well, so far working great, and I think I'll be using this more for development because it's a really interactive way to handle your development. So that's that. Next part is I should mention that I also wrote a blog post about this, of course. I also like this cool B-movie scary kind of style. So this is the the blog post, blah blah. Just read it. And I also uploaded the project to my LearnCocosTV GitHub repository. It's this update files from web server project. And next thing is also released Cocos2D version 1.0.2, which is mostly just a maintenance release, and I fixed a couple of things that were reported by users, and added some requests and just general overhaul. I'm actually right now using Cocos2D to write a project myself a contract project that was that laid dormant for basically a year, and I was still using Cocos2D 0.99.2 back at the time, and so my first step was to update it to Cocos2D version 1.0. Then I ported it to Cobalt2D, and then again I actually enabled Arc in that project, and so far it's been going pretty smooth. So overall I did the whole conversion stuff in a day about, and it's really quite something. So if you have an old project, I really recommend updating, because it'll be a lot easier to work with it with the newer software, newer libraries, etc. Almost forgot, I have a poll here. I'm running a poll. Which scripting language would you prefer to script Cocos2D apps with? I'm interested in your preference regarding scripting language usage for Cocos2D apps. As far as I can tell from the forums and roadmaps, etc., it looks like Cocos2D iPhone is going in the JavaScript direction, which is actually not a surprise if you consider that Zynga has probably hundreds of JavaScript coders. My plans for Cobalt2D is to expand on the Lua front, and as you can see right now, it seems to be the most popular choice. So finally, something more about my personal work. I devised this new scheme how I work, and this probably requires an entire or maybe even 2 blog posts, but if you've ever worked in a company, and you probably have been doing some planning when certain tasks have to be finished, how much time you have for each task, etc., etc. And when I started as a freelancer, I actually started planning individual tasks, etc., etc. And it took me a while to realize that this is futile. If you're, in particular, if you're working alone or in a small group, a small team, you don't need to plan your tasks. It's more important to plan your time. When do you have time to work on things? And also to introduce discipline, to say, okay, every 2 weeks on Wednesday, Thursday, I do this task, and I do that other task on this other time. And I know people are having problems to write a new blog post every time their iDevBlogADay schedule is coming up, and it's just a matter of discipline. I mean, you have 2 weeks time. You can set aside maybe 4 hours, maybe 8 hours, I don't know, and just do it on a certain day, on a certain time, and just get done with it. And that's what this schedule is all about. I devised 3 types of days that I have: focus days, chores days, and improv days. Basically what this means is focus day is all about getting this shit done. I allow myself no distractions, no emails. I don't even look at emails. I don't even, preferably I have Twitter closed. I close up everything that could distract me. I even set up my spaces in macOS to have a clean working space where there are no browser windows open, where there might be a Facebook tab or something like that. Just stick to the work, do 8 hours of work straight, no interruptions, unhook your phone, whatever it needs to get the job done. Just focus. This is really, really enjoyable, and I also try to work on things that I can get done in 2 days, and it's amazing how much you can get done in 2 focus days. And I believe, I've heard this before, but I strongly believe this now, that you can actually do a whole week's work within 2 days if you just focus on your tasks. So obviously you won't be writing a new level editor for your game or something like that in 2 days, but you can add an essential feature, or you can always split down your tasks, and that's what this is all about. Get as much work done as possible with whatever task you have at hand. And in my case, it's either about tasks that bring in money, or tasks that I enjoy doing, or ideally both. Improv days are, well, lack of a better word, it's either about improving things or improvising, and coming up with new stuff. So basically it's do something out of the ordinary or perform ordinary tasks, which is basically maintenance. And in that case, distractions are okay, just limited, not too much. So essentially it's also a bit of a focus day, but it's also about setting your mind aside to do other things you wouldn't normally do, trying the things that like in iDevBlogADay posts that I would probably set off and put off until a later time, and essentially never actually do it, and it'll always be in my head and spinning, and I should try this once, but I never get around to it. This is what the improv days are about, to experiment. And the other part of improv days is, of course, I have a responsibility for Cocos2D to grow it, to make it better, to fix bugs. And improv days, I use them as a maintenance. That's when I do Cocos2D maintenance, basically, and add new features and work out whatever I did in iDevBlogADay and try to work it into Cocos2D at that time. And so basically it's a two-pronged approach. First, get the code done and working, and then consider how I could rewrite the code to make it more flexible, to make it generally useful, etc., etc. And usually it's actually not that important to make it generally usable, because first you have to have users who are using that code. So once you get that feedback, you can work this in. Not to be too confusing, there's also the chores day. As you know, there are always things that, the little things that hold you up, or those that you'd rather hold off indefinitely if you could, like taxes or doing mail or email. There are also emails that aren't that important. They can wait to a chores day, and then you can just work off the emails en bloc, which is more effective. The whole bureaucratic stuff, doing backups, whatnot. There are so many things that need to be done, which are little things, but they can really distract you during the day. So I try to reserve just one day for those distractions and getting them done at that time. I don't have to worry about things slipping through the net, and also I know when the next chores day is, and so if I'm on Friday and I know the next chores day is Saturday next week, I can consider, is this going to be too late for that chore or not? And so I can easily decide whether to hold off or do it now. And time off is obviously, well, time off. There is no emails, no forums, no work. At least that's what I like to believe. You can read the rest yourself, but that's basically how I changed my approach to work, is not to plan my individual tasks anymore. I still have some task lists, reminders, just to keep track of the things that I can possibly keep in my head, but they are not planned strictly like, okay, first I work on A, then on B, then on C, then on D, etc. I rather plan my time now, which means that I have certain days dedicated to certain tasks or to certain ways of working. So it's been working quite well. I'm doing this since December last year, and I really enjoy it. And I also came up with this new schedule. Haven't done it yet in this way, but it also helped me to schedule my blog post updates. I think that's it. I probably have more stuff to talk, but if I keep talking, I'll run out of time, and as YouTube only allows 15 minutes, so I say goodbye here. See you in 2 weeks, not the next week, and have fun working with Cocos2D and Cocos2D. Bye.